Welcome back, guys. It's Maury here, and on today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the best Warzone settings for Season 6. That's going to be controller settings, keyboard and mouse settings, as well as the general graphics settings to get you the best frame rate and still have the game looking as good as it possibly can without sacrificing frames. No further delay, let's dive into it. Okay guys, so starting off in the general tab, I'm on controller at the moment, but as I said, I play both keyboard and mouse and controller. So field of view, I've recently bumped this up to 120. I used to play on 105 because people would say that it was hard to hit your shots at the longer range when you push the field of view that much. But I have noticed changing, if you go into the advanced tab and changing the ADS field of view to affected, which means it changes the amount of zoom in based on how much your field of view is set to, that actually allows me to hit the shots at long range way easier than what I was previously hitting those shots. And it just makes it so much easier to track people as well. So that's definitely something you should consider if you're on PC. This isn't quite in yet on console, but once the Vanguard comes out, apparently this is coming in. I've got my brightness set to 57. As well as 100 and 100 for the HUD. The HUD is basically just determining how far from the border of your screen everything is, so your mini-map and that sort of stuff. So I like to leave this on 100. I don't want it in the middle of the screen. The colorblind, I've got set to, I don't even know how to say that word, but starts with D. Colorblind target set to interface. Mini-map set to square. This is a big one because if you have it set to round, you will miss cars, vehicles, people in the corners of where the mini-map that you would see if it was square, and then you don't have that awareness of people around you like you would if you were using square. Mini-map rotation on. Everything else here, I like to have my frames on just so I can see what frames I'm getting. Everything else is not really that important. Full screen, borderless, I run just because of my monitor setup, but most people would run full screen. Then you've got your monitor, your graphics card, so it's going to be different for everyone. Render resolution, I just leave on 100, so I play in 1440p, which is 2K, and that's not going to be the same for everyone. So some of you guys will be playing in 1080p, so don't necessarily change this render resolution to match mine. You want to have it set to whatever your monitor is playing. And I have my aspect ratio set to 16:9. I'm using an ultra wide, so this helps me cap it to a normal size screen. VSync disabled. Custom frame rate I have enabled and just set to 300 as the maximum. NVIDIA highlights I have disabled. NVIDIA reflex low latency enable plus boost. Then you've got the gamma I've just set as the default 2.2. Streaming quality set to normal. Then we've got high, normal, low, enabled, disabled, standard quality. Shadow map resolution set to low. Cache disabled, particle lighting low. Direct X ray tracing is disabled. Static objects is what I've got the ambient occlusion set to. Then disabled for screen space. Filmic strength I've got set to 1. DLSS I've got disabled. Anti-aliasing I've got filmic SMAA. Depth of field disabled. World motion blur disabled. Weapon motion blur disabled. You want all of those definitely off. Film grain 0. Dynamic resolution disabled. Dynamic resolution frame target doesn't matter because it's disabled. Then if we jump over to the controller settings, now I've tried a lot of pros settings. They're different layouts, they're different ways of doing things, different dead zones. I've tried Aiden's settings, I've tried a bunch of different pros basically, and the ones that I actually like the most is Jowo's settings. So Jowo's known for crazy movement. If you don't know who he is, he gets incredibly high kill gameplays, and I thought I would give his settings a go, and since I've done that, it has definitely helped out my actual aim, especially in those longer range encounters. When you're using, an assault rifle with a lot of kick to the recoil, this definitely helps out. So default flipped is what I play on. I have paddles on the back of the controller. No, we don't want to do that. Stick layout is default. Inverted look disabled. Now dead zone, I used to have this set to 0.04. It's now 0.06, which is definitely an improvement. Horizontal stick sensitivity, I've put them both to 6. I used to play on 7. ADS sensitivity multiplier low. So I have this on 0.85, which I've always had it on 0.85, but I used to have the high zoom set to 1, so I could move around a little bit quicker with the sniper, but I actually found by dropping it to 0.85 like Joe has, I find that controlling the movement on the longer range assault rifles, this is the main thing that helps you actually track people if they're, they're landing back in from the gulag and you're trying to beam them out of the sky, if they're parachuting, whatever the case is. It's just really going to help you stick to them a lot more because you're just moving that little bit slower, and it just feels, the aim assist almost feels more sticky because of it. So definitely try that. You want your aim response curve set to dynamic. Controller vibration always disabled. I only know one person who plays with that on, and that's kind of weird. Aim assist set to standard. Standard is what all of the pros are using, so I wouldn't be using anything else other than that. And everything else you can see here, enabled, ADS plus melee, enabled, hold, contextual tap. Make sure you have contextual tap on because that allows you to open boxes and stuff just tapping the button rather than having to hold and wait for the little circle to go all the way around. It's just extra time that you don't want to be wasting. Armor plate. So I used to play with apply 1 because I would find that, if I did apply all, I would sometimes get caught mid-plate and it would get me killed. Now I've learned that if you put on apply all, you can actually basically hold down Y for a second to start the plating process, and then you can go right back to slide cancelling, doing everything to try and evade the person who's chasing you, and your guy's just going to keep putting plates on. And if you actually need to stop, you can just hit Y and stop. On computer, I don't believe you can actually stop plating, so that is something to consider. On computer, I would probably do apply 1, but if you're playing controller, definitely apply all. Slide behavior tap, auto move forward disabled, automatic tack sprint on. You definitely want automatic tack sprint on because it just helps you. Like, anyone can get down the buttons to actually start engaging sprint and start slide cancelling and whatnot, but it's just the milliseconds in trying to change direction. You don't have to click to go into a tactical sprint. It'll automatically go into a tactical sprint, which is just going to make you so much better at strafing in those fast encounters. I'll put like a little clip in here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about with that. Ooh, that guy got juked. Who shot at me? I feel like someone shot something at me. Okay, motorbike. Kind of random. They're dead. Yeah, you definitely have to aim down sight with this one. Yeah. If you guys just aim down sight, it's going to help out a lot with pellet spread. Yeah. Shit on! Vehicle camera recenter enabled, disabled for auto parachute deploy. So you definitely want this disabled and you want to pull the chute yourself because you can pull it much closer to the ground. If you have it set to enabled, it's going to pull the chute for you way higher than what you actually want to pull it. And then you're sort of floating in the air and it's going to get you killed a lot. So yeah, avoid that. Tactical sprint is double tap, but that's kind of irrelevant too. Now, if we go to mouse and keyboard, and I'll just jump onto the mouse and keyboard and we can see these settings are all the same as my last video. So if you haven't seen my last settings video, I'll show them to you quickly. I have quite a strange, I'm not going to go through every single thing, but you can see the settings here. I have quite a strange setup where I actually use T on the keyboard to move forward, and then F would be left and H would be right, rather than having WASD like most people do, because then all you've really got is left shift and left control to use with your pinky, whereas putting it across to T leaves about 10 keys that I can hit with my pinky. So it gives me a lot more options, so that is the reason that I do it. A lot of people think it is super weird, but it works for me, so maybe consider giving that a go if you guys haven't already. I'll go into weapons and equipment so you guys can see everything that I am doing here. I'm just going to scroll through really quickly. We don't want this to be 4 hours long. I'll point out anything that's, a main feature. But it's all just basically keybinds. So see here, armor plate behavior, I've got apply 1 when I'm playing keyboard and mouse. I don't do apply all, but on the controller I do have apply all. That's probably the only real difference. And Go through the last one as well. There you have it, guys. That is all the settings for Warzone Season 6 to help you absolutely dominate. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that this helped you out. If it did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing if you aren't already. And until next time, guys, keep gaming.